code as well. See, suppose searching also very important. The reason why I'm saying, right? See, suppose you are going to write, you are going to implement one requirement. Suppose you stuck somewhere, you don't know how to write that code, maybe you don't know the syntax or maybe the particular logic. So if you're searching in Google, so it will show 100 lines of code. In that 100 lines of code, only 5 lines of code you are looking for that 100 lines of code. Okay, these 5 lines you required for your logic. How to find out that 5 lines? So that is very important. If you are searching the code, if you are finding by yourself, so that you can get us how to search the code and how to find out your logic from number of lines of code. Okay, searching also very important. This is also one drawback for many of the employees, so they don't know how to search in Google and how to find out the code. See, whatever requirement, so everything it is there in Google as well. Okay, so nowadays we have chat GPT as well, right? You have to enter the requirement, you can get a code as well, but not exact code, sample code it will return in chat GPT. So there also we can find out the code. Okay, right. So today we are going to discuss about for each loop. So you can try one more time. So 1 or 2 days, maybe if still you are not finding, then next week I'll provide all the solutions, whatever given assignment yesterday. Don't worry on that. Okay. So right. So yesterday we discussed for loop, right? So for loops are nothing but it will execute more than once. Conditional statements are execute only one time. Okay, so that is difference between for loop and if statement, right? So yeah, for loops are two types, right? One is the normal for loop, that is already you learned in C language, and a normal programming language. For loop, inside the for loop we can do the initialization, and you can give the condition, and also if you want to print increment data or decrement data, everything we can define inside the for loop. So that is the normal for loop syntax. But what is for each loop? Why we are using for each loop means, so whenever you write the code or logic in real time, you want to fetch the real time data in object data. So in normal for loop, yesterday what we discussed, always we can do the either integer or string. Only one data type we are going to use inside the for loop. Normal for loop, it is allowing similar data type, that is either string or integer, boolean, whatever it is required. Okay, but for each loop not like that. For each loop we can access for object data. Object data means even for loop also it will allow for object data, but here also we can use for object list of data and find out what data you required. Okay, let's see one example as well. Okay, what is the for each loop syntax is, syntaxes are very important. Okay, so syntax for each loop is for object API name, object or data type, maybe data type, next variable name, and then list of data. Okay, this is the for each loop. This is the for each loop syntax. Otherwise, if it is a yes object, for object API name, object API name, always we have to refer API name, and also variable name, and list of data. Okay, so this is S object. If it is a primitive data type means, primitive data type same for string or maybe data type, that is something like string. Okay, so str variable name and the data, whatever data it is required. So these are the syntaxes for S object and the primitive object. This is the normal syntax for each loop. Okay, so I think everyone joined, right? Right. So now go to here, go to developer console. Let's see one example is, first we'll discuss about primitive data type, how to write the code. Go to developer console, so as a tab here, open the anonymous window, click on Control E, it will open the anonymous window. I'll maximize this. Right. So now let's see example for primitive data type. Primitive primitive data type. Okay, so in this primitive data type, suppose I want list of data. I want a list of data. See, suppose list. Why I'm using list of string? Don't worry, this collections will discuss after that. Okay, so str list equal to new list of string. So like this we can use, otherwise we can define the data as well. Like this, inside the flower bracket we can define string, right? Test hyphen 1 comma test hyphen 2 comma test hyphen 3. Okay, so why I'm using string? Generally we can use this string value directly like this also, right? String str equal to test1. But in this string, how many values we can store? In this string we can store only one value. So if whenever you define like this, it will store only one value. If we want to store more than one value, then we have to define a list. Okay, list is nothing but a one of the collection. By using list, we can store more than one value into the list, more than one record or record, so we can store into here. This list, how many values are there? Three values are there. Then what is the for each loop? Simply for what is the data type here? String. And what is the variable? You can give any name, and which variable it is having data. So this is the string list having data. So that data we have to pass like this. Okay, now we can print this one. System.debug system.debug string values are just you can add plus we can pass the string value like this. Okay, so this is how we can define the for each loop. How to define? Object name, or that is primitive data type name, or s object name, variable, list of data. In this list of data, which data you want, you can use inside the logic. Just execute this code. Execute. If you execute this code, click on debug only. See now how many times loop is executed. Loop is executed 3 times. See now str. First the data is available in string list. First it will check the loop. First it will get the first data, and again it will check one more data, and again it will run third data. Total how many records are there here? There is a 3 values is there. 3 times for loop it will trigger. So number of records equal to number of transactions, or number of times it will execute inside the for loop. Okay, so this is something like primitive data type example. Okay, so let's see one more example for each loop. Example is, so fetch all account records and print only accounts rating is hard. Okay, rating is hard. Only print which account is having rating, only the particular record only we want to print. Okay, let's see how to print the data. First of all, we need to fetch the data. Means we have to write SOQL query. That also we'll discuss. Okay, whatever concepts it is not discussed, don't worry, I will cover everything basics. Okay, now how to use S object data type inside the for loop means, let's see. First, how to fetch the data? Same, list of accounts equal to, there is a SOQL query, that is select statement. This and all I will take a class, don't worry. So this is one session I'm going to 2 sessions I'm going to take to explain select queries as well. Okay, as of now you can understand how to read the data from database. ID comma name comma rating. Okay, from account. Total how many records are there? Let's see. System.debug accounts are number of accounts. Okay, number of accounts. Number of accounts is, so click on here, accounts dot, this is the list, right? We can use size method. Let's see first how many data it is available. Copy these accounts, paste it here variable, execute now. Click on debug only. See, total 42 accounts are there. If you go to Salesforce, click on account here, select any application, either sales application or any application. Now, if you go to accounts table, if you go to account, select all accounts, total how many accounts are there here? Here total 42 accounts are there. In that 42 accounts, rating is all accounts are rating equal to heart? No, only particular accounts only having heart. How to find out which accounts are having heart rating equal to heart? Simply we can use for each loop. For what is the object API name? Account ACC. We can give any variable name, and also now we can pass accounts. Now here you can check that if ACC dot rating equal to heart, then only we can print the data. Then only we can print the data. System dot debug account name is name and the plus symbol ACC dot name. Like this we need to print the value. In accounts having name rating is available, we want to print which account is having a rating equal to heart. That account I'm going to print, and also I'm going to add one more debug. Account rating is again we can use ACC dot rating. This is how we can print the multiple value. Let's see, system is going to consider only account heart rating equal to heart or not. Execute now. If you are not understanding code also, no problem, just you can understand how to use this for each loop. Remaining things we'll discuss later. Okay, now if we go to here, see total how many records are there? Total 42 records. In that 42 records, only these records are having rating equal to heart. I think already list view is created heart accounts, right? If we go to heart accounts, so total how many accounts are there? 14 accounts are there. See here, this loop is executed 14 times. These 14 records are printed here. Okay, hope you clear how to use for each loop. Just this line of code you can understand syntax and how to pass the data. We want data, right? So that is the reason we are fetching the data from database, and we are checking which data you want. You can check. See, suppose I have a liquid cash, okay, 10,000 rupees. I'm going to give to Praveen. Praveen, can you calculate this amount? Means can you count this value? So can you count this 10,000 rupees? In the 10,000 rupees, only 5 loads are having 500 loads. Remaining all are 200. Now I want to ask to the Praveen, can you check this 10,000? How many notes are 500? How many notes are 200 rupees? So what he will do? He will check one by one, right? He will check one by one and he will count one by one data. So how he will count? First he will get the data and he will check how many nodes are having 500. He will note that value, something like that. Here also code it will work. Okay, so if you want to execute any logic more than one time, or if you want to find out the data from list of data, if it is any required data, then you have to use the for each loop, and you can check the condition, and if you write the logic whatever it is required. Okay, so this is how we can use for each loop. Hope you clear. Any questions here? For each loop clear? Hmm? Shall I go to
No,
another
sir.
one?
Yeah, you can go, sir.
Yeah. Next one is functions. See, functions are nothing but statements. Okay, functions are nothing but statements. Functions also called as methods. Okay, suppose in same class we want to create account record. In same class we want to create contact record. and also we want to update the account data, we want to update the contact data. Sometimes what happen, right, we want to execute multiple logic in same class, and everything we need to define only single function? No. So the class is contain different statements. Okay, different statements. Instead of defining same statement, example, see here, this is the class. Okay, so this is the class, and here there is a statement 1. Okay, statement 1 comma statement 2 2 comma. Now create order 1 method, just example create order, and also statement 3 comma and statement 4. Again one more method we are using, create order. Like this etc, we can define multiple methods. Okay, inside the class we can define multiple statements. If we are defining same statement multiple times, if we are defining same statement multiple times, instead of defining multiple times, we can create a function and we can write a logic in single statement. How to write that logic, how to implement the logic means, that is something like function. By using function we can write the logic and we can wrap it into one name. The method is one method. Inside the method we can use same logic n number of times. Okay, so that is something like a function. Simply function is nothing but it is a group of statements wrapped under one name. Okay, one name. And also here functions also called as functions are defined as a defined based on methods. Okay, methods. Here methods are two types. Generally methods are two types. One is wide method. This is very important. Wide method and non-wide method. Non-wide method. Okay, so first we will discuss about wide method. Wide method. So here there is a two statements we have. First, wide method. Why use? What is difference between wide and non-wide method means? Wide method, it is not have any return statement. Okay, so return statement return statement is not required for wide method. Okay, this is. So you know the restaurants, right? So if people are generally you are visiting for restaurant for any lunch or dinner, right? See, some restaurants are what they will do. See, if it is a small restaurant, you are going to restaurant, you pay the money, and you come once complete the dinner or lunch. So once complete you are done, then you are going to pay the money and you will come back. The restaurant people are not expecting anything after your activity is done, right? That is something like a wide method. Non-wide method is nothing but non-wide method. See, if you go for big restaurants like Absolute Barbecue or any other big restaurant, what they will do once the lunch or dinner is completed, again they will expect something from you like feedback. You have to give the feedback how the food is or how the service is. So they will ask the feedback. Please provide the feedback. Based on that, they will improve the business. Something like that. They will expecting something once your activity is done. That is something like a non-wide method. That is something like a return statement. Okay, after completing our core logic, do you want to expect anything from that method? Then you have to define a non-wide method. I don't want to expect anything, simply I run that method, and once that executed, then we can ignore that transaction. That is something like a wide method. Okay, let's see what are the different types of wide method we have. First example is example 1 function without return type, without return value, and without parameter. That is something like a first method. Let's see example. Go to Salesforce, create a class, Apex class, that is method example. What is the method name? So method is function without return type. Without return type means that is the void method, and without parameter. Without parameter, simply public. How to define the void method? Just simply we can mention void, and we can give any name, something like show. Okay, method name is so this is one method. System dot debug. This is first method. This is the first method. Like this, we can define multiple statements or multiple functions. One more is public void call me. Okay, so this is another method. System.debug. This is second method. Second method without parameter. Without parameter. Here also we can give the without parameter. Okay, so this is something like you can save this class, it will save the class. See, class is contain multiple statements. The functions are defined as a method. So this is one method, this is another method. What is this method? This is a void method. We are not going to provide any return statement. See, if you provide the return statement, something return null, let's see what will happen. Save now, it will get a error. See, now it will get a error. Below it is error, right? We can maximize this one. Go to the problems. See, void method must not return value. If it is a void method, no need to define the return value. The method is not expecting anything. Whatever logic you define, simply it will execute. It will execute. It will not return anything. So that is something like a void method. Okay. Simply void method is single definition. Void method not contain any return statement. Whatever logic you defined inside the void method, it will execute. Okay. So this is example for function without return value and without parameter. Okay. How to execute this class? How to execute this class? Whether this class is execute, how to execute? So control E. So if it is a non-static method, so there is a static and non-static also we have. So first you have to create instance of the class. Why you need to create an instance of the class? Because of the class is a new class. That class is contain different functions. Okay. So whenever you creating any class, yeah, how to execute class is nothing but an object, right? It is a collection of methods and functions or methods and statement. So class is also nothing but an object. First you have to create a object initiation. How to create? Just simply class name. Later also we will discuss variable name equal to new class name. So this is how we can you can create an instance of the class. Okay, yesterday already we discussed, right? And the data type, S object data type, how we are going to define account ACC new account. Same like class also object. First you have to define the instance of the class. Then only the memory allocation is created for that class, and you can execute the code whatever inside the class. How many methods we have? Class dot, there is a method called show. So this is how we can execute. And also one more is class dot call me. So inside the show, I'm not providing anything. This method is not expecting from my side. This method is not expecting anything. Just simply I'm going to give the amount. See, generally, suppose I am the manager some core company, and under me there is a many people are working. Every month I need to pay the money transaction. I need to pay the salary as a cash. Okay, I'm not going to expect anything from them. Just I'm going to give the cash. So this is your salary, I'm going to give. Okay, so just I'm going to give the money, I'm not going to expect anything. If you are giving something, then only I can pay the money. No, not like that. Just simply I'm going to pay the salary. That is something like a void method without parameter. Just you can execute this code. We can execute this code. Just click on debug only. See, now the code is executed and it will return the logic whatever inside the method. One method is first method without parameter. This is the second method. This is how we can execute the method in Apex class. Okay, so here I'm going to give the code. So this is something like without return value means that is simply void method, and without parameter means we are not passing any parameter here. We are not passing any parameter. Okay, this is next example. Example 2 is copy this example 1. Example 2 is function without return value with the parameter. Without return value with the parameter. Okay, let's see how to write the logic. Now this is not expecting anything, right? Now I'm going to pass the parameter string name. Okay, so this is also string or age equal integer age. Okay, so if it is provide the name, what I'm going to do, integer age equal to 35. Okay, system.debug. So here we are passing the name, right? Just pass before, also we can pass the variable like this, we can pass after also we can pass. Okay, age is then we can pass the value like this, age value. So now what we are going, what this method will do, whenever you are passing the parameter, you can give the name of the candidate, and this method will execute what is the age of that particular candidate. What is the age of that particular candidate? So if you give the name is Raju, Raju age is 35. We are defined inside the method the person age is 35. This is how system will execute. Okay, let's see. Now here integer, right? Now string name equal to Ram. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, simply remove this one. Ram age is no, sorry, just simply name plus we can give that age is where that age it will come from the variable. Okay, now execute, save. Now what is previous example and this example is, previous example without providing any data it will execute the method successfully and it will return the statement, it will return the debug value. Now this method, let's see, control E, I think method name and parameter, method name and class name is same. Just execute now, let's see whether it will execute or not. If you execute, see it will get a error. Why? Because method does not exit or incorrect signature. Why it is does not exit means this method by itself it is not executed. This method is expecting some parameter. What is the parameter? We need to pass the string value. What value we need to pass? Just I'm going to pass the Raju. If you pass the Raju, then only it will return the system.debug statement is what is the age of the Raju. Okay, so here what is the next parameter? Integer, right? Integer means we need to pass the integer like 25. Okay, now we can execute. So once it will execute, it will return the debug statement. See now, Raju age is 35, Ram age is 25. Okay, so when this method it will execute, if you give the something, then only the method it will execute. Then it will execute, otherwise it will not execute. The method is expecting some value. If you pass that value inside the method, then only that inside the logic it will execute based on that parameter. Okay, so whenever you are executing method in developer console, you have to pass the data, whatever data you are passing inside the method, that you can that you have to pass from the anonymous window, then only it will execute the code. Not only anonymous window, in real time also. If you refer this class in any other place, or if you want to execute this method in another class, then you have to pass the expected parameter, otherwise the code is not saved, and otherwise the code is not executed. Okay, previous example, without passing any parameter it will execute. Why? Because that method is nothing but a without parameter. Now this method is expecting some value, you have to pass that value, then only it will execute. Okay, so this is something like a without return type with the parameter. Okay, hope you clear. So Later also we'll discuss n number of times this type of examples. Don't worry, initially I know it's a difficult to understand line by line, but don't worry, we can discuss n number of examples going forward. Okay, so this is something like a wide method. Wide method, there is a two types of wide method. We have function without return value, without parameter, and another one is with the parameter. Okay, how to execute with the parameter or without parameter, like this. Okay, example for with the parameter is, see, suppose I asking to Praveen to withdraw the money. So Praveen is how he is going to withdraw the money, either two ways. He will go to the bank and he will show my passbook or whatever. So something is expecting from my side. So without giving, suppose if you want to withdraw the money from ATM machine, he expecting some ATM card, right? Without ATM card, how you are going to withdraw the money? So when I give the ATM card to him, then only it will execute that activity. Otherwise, he is not able to execute. That is example for with the parameter. Okay, so one more is already we discussed, right? That is the salary payment or something. We are not expecting anything, just simply we can execute the data. We are not going to pass any parameter. That is the first example. Next one is non-wide method. Non-wide method. Non-wide method is nothing but, so it is not it is contain return statement. Return statement means return statement is mandatory. Just now we discussed, right? If you go to any big restaurant, once that lunch or dinner is completed, they will expect some feedback from you. So that is something like a written statement. You have to give the feedback. Some restaurant mandatory to, they're asking to give the feedback. They will give some form in front of them only. You have to give the feedback. Not only restaurant. So if you go to the bank or maybe some companies, they're expecting some feedback under from the customer. Same, that is example for non-wide method. So if you execute any method as a non-wide, the method it will return what value you are expecting. Okay, here also same thing. In non-wide method also same thing. What is that? So example is, go to this example, function with return value and with parameter. Okay, first one is with return value without parameter. First we will discuss about without parameter. Let's see same example. Now here I'm going to expect string. I'm going to expect the string. Okay, or I'm going to expect integer. So how to pass? See, if we are going to integer, here I'm going to expect string value. Okay, just save now. This is non-wide method. If the method is not contain wide parameter or wide function, then the method is nothing but a non-wide method. Okay, I'm not going to give any parameter. Without parameter, I'm not going to give anything. Okay, so just simply what we need to do, here you can save this one, it will get a error. See now, missing the return statement, and also this name also you can remove this one, debug statement, not required. Now save. If you save now, if you go to here, see here, missing return statement, required return type is integer, return type is string. Okay, so what this method will do, whenever executing this method, it will print age equal to 35, right? Then we can mention return statement. Return statement is either age. Okay, so if you want to pass null value, we can pass the null value. I don't want to expect anything. Even though they're planning to give the return value something, some people are expecting feedback, some people are not expecting feedback. Okay, see, suppose some restaurant, they're not forcing to give the feedback, so they will send the link to your mobile. If you are interested, you are going to give the feedback, or if you are not interested, so you are leave it. You are not providing any feedback means the response equal to null value. So something we can provide null as well, return null, like this. Okay, save now. Now it will save the data. Control A, shift tab, it will code alignment, it will do. See now, there is no any error now. Okay, so this is something like with the parameter, sorry, without parameter non-wide method. Okay, this is without parameter non-wide method. Now execute this class. Yeah. Any questions? Someone is unmuted, right? Can you please unmute if you don't have any question? Praveen, can you please mute? Maybe let me do that. Right. Okay. So now go to developer console. Now we can execute this code. See, it will execute without any error. There is no any debug statement. Why? Because we are not printing any value. Okay, if you want to print the value, we can print the value. Otherwise, you can leave it. This is how we can define the non-void method without parameter. Okay, this is the example for non-void method. Okay, execution code is already available in top. Same example. Next example is, this is the one, and this is the two, without return value with the parameter. Same story. If you give the name, string equal to name, and here you can pass the integer equal to integer age. Okay, and also we can pass multiple values as well. If you want to pass here string, and also if you want any decimal, salary, like this, we can pass multiple methods, multiple parameters, not only one parameter. You can pass more than one parameter with comma separated. Okay, that is also possible. Whenever you are providing more than one value, then method also you have to pass more than one parameter. See, if you go to here, so second method, it is expecting age. I'm going to provide 23. First method, simply we are going to provide name of the candidate, then it will not execute. See, if you execute now, it will get a error. See, line number 2, it will execute. Line number 2, it is getting error. How many parameters this method is executing? This method is executing 2 parameters. One is the name, comma, and the remaining is value, decimal value, something like that we can execute. Now it will execute without any error. Okay, so this is something like without return type, sorry, with return type and with parameter, non-void function and with the parameter. This is how we can execute the code. Okay, now so this is the piece of code we can execute more than one parameter. Hope you clear what is functions. So I will give an assignment. Any questions, let me know. Okay, clear now what is functions and what type of functions. There is a mainly functions are two types, that is called methods. Okay, void method, non-void method. What is main difference between void method and non-void method? Means void method expecting return statement, non-void method it is expecting void method it is not expecting return statement, but non-void method expecting return statement. If you are not providing return statement, the method is not executed. The code itself, it is not going to save. Okay, just simply first one is create a apex class, create a class called as demo. Okay, second one is create a method, call me, method name is call me, and call me, which will print 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, 3. Okay, so you can print the value. Third point is create a method, calculate which will take amount, rate of interest, and years as a parameter, and calculate the interest and print the value. How to print the value? Using system.debug statement. How we are calculating interest? How we are calculating? Yeah, generally how we are calculating EMI. So generally amount, rate of interest, and number of years, right? So the formula already you know, right? Amount into rate of interest divided by number, something formula is there, right? You can apply the formula. But who is providing amount rate years? So that method is expecting as a parameter. So just now we discussed, right? Here we can pass decimal equal to amount, years equal to either integer, and also rate of interest is maybe percentage, whatever you want. Okay, pass as a three parameters into calculate method, and also you can calculate the interest, and you can pass calculate not interest, right? Already rate EMI, right? So it is calculate EMI. Okay, right. So this is something like example. Can you do this? Yes or no? Can you do
Yes, sir.
this? Okay. Can I continue or enough today? Enough, huh? Go slowly. Development. Understand one by one. Okay. So yesterday one example, right? I will provide the code here. So something even numbers. How to pass even numbers. Okay. Simply here like this. Integer I equal to 0. We can pass, and also I equal to I greater than equal to 100. If you want to print up to 100 values, I plus plus one code I'm going to provide today. And how to calculate even the value is integer value is the return value is even number, means simply we can use 0 equal to, if condition you have to use double equal. There is a function called mode dot math. Okay, so there is a function called mode dot math. So here we can use value I comma 2. Okay, so here you can put system.debug. Here you can print the I value simply. Okay, so this it will return for even value, even numbers. If you want odd numbers, you can pass I comma 1. Okay, or 1 yeah, I comma 2 only. I comma 2 only, whatever divided by it is not equal to 0, then that is called odd number. Think like different think like opposite manner as a hard numbers. Okay, execute this code, it will return for even numbers. This is mod dot math mode. You have to use this method, then only it will convert. It will check for either value is integer, even number, or odd number. Okay, this is one assignment logic. Remaining odd number you can practice, and the 10th table you have to practice that remaining thing. If you are not provided, if you are not getting, then I will provide the code. Okay, right. So next class we'll discuss about axis modifier. There is a axis modifiers we have. Maybe if you want me to complete, just I'll complete today itself. Do you want me to complete now, or maybe we'll discuss next class otherwise? So axis specifiers are, there is a four types of axis specifier. One is the global, generally four types. Okay, so one is public, otherwise I'm going to mention first as a global, public, private, and protected. Okay, so these are the four types of axis specifiers we have. Name itself is there. Either we can call it as a axis modifier or axis specifier. Both are same only. Okay, why we are going to use axis modifiers means, see, if we are based on axis modifier, when to use that apex class, where to use that apex class. Sometimes we need to expose that class from Salesforce to outside the organization, or within the Salesforce I want to execute that class is many places, or I want to call from one class to another class. Then that and all it will define based on axis modifier. How we are going to access that apex class, what type of restrictions we have, or what type of access we are providing for a class, that it will decide by access modifier. Based on access modifier only, we can call the class or we can execute the class based on requirement. See example, here I'm going to use public, right? Either you can use public or global or protected or private. Okay, public means we can access anywhere in the organization, anywhere in the within the organization. Do you want to access this class in one more class? See example, go to open this one, create a apex class. Okay, access modifiers example, just simply you can create a class. Suppose I want to execute this class. See, suppose I want to execute public void. So public void or yeah, void and method. Okay, just execute like this. Okay, here method one something. Now I want to execute this class. How to execute this class? Control E, same code, whatever we are going to return inside the code, you have to paste it like this. Okay, this one. Control A, shift tab, save now. If you save now, see it is saved without any error. Okay, suppose I'm going to make it this class as a private. Now I'm going to make it as a private. So this one also I'm going to make it as a private. If you save the class, see the class is not saved. Why? Because see top level type must be either public or global visibility. Why it is getting error? Because of this class is called in here. Suppose I'm going to remove this class. I'm going to remove this class, save now. Save now, it will save class, this class as well. Save this class also. Now first save this one. It is saved. Now go to here, save now. Now there is no any error. See what is the error? Top level must be public or private. Okay, it is only test class it is showing. Maybe let me check. Only is test only we are using. Test class only we are using private class. Let's see. Save now. It will save, I think. Yeah. So private class only you can use for is test. So normally it is not executed. See the reason why I mentioned private means whenever you are mentioned access specifier as a private, so that is not exposing to another class. It is not possible to expose to another class, means it is not possible to execute that class by using another class. That is specific to the particular class only it will execute. So it is a individual execution. Okay, it is not possible to expose that class to from another class. If it is a public, we can access anywhere. We can access anywhere in organization. Like anywhere in organization means either we can execute by class itself or by execute this class by using another class. So that is possible by using public. If it is a global also same. If we want to expose that class within the organization or outside the organization. Suppose if you build any web service integration using apex class, that class must be global. Okay, maybe in detail one normal scenario will explain to my next class what is access specifier or access modifier, so that you can understand more. Each access specifier I'm going to explain one or two examples so that you can understand more about that, what is exactly global, public, private, protected. Okay, so I think today enough. So you have to complete this assignment and complete previous assignments also. If you have any doubts, reach out to me on WhatsApp. I will be available. Okay, right. For each loop and methods. Okay. See, don't worry. Again, I'm telling. So here, most of the functionality is still not covered. Collections, okay. collections under that. Anyway, I'm going to cover how to use collections for primitive data type and a subject data type. And also this is also, if you are not understanding this piece of code, don't worry. Again, I'm going to cover what is class, and we are going to discuss multiple times n number of examples going forward, so that you can understand. But only thing is, try to understand the syntaxes. See, suppose if you write this class, how to execute this class, this is how we have to execute the class. You have to create an instance of the class, and you have to execute each method separately. If you want to execute only one method, that is also possible. If you want to execute two methods at a time, that is also possible. If you want to pass more than one parameter, that is also possible. Okay, so code everything, it is possible, but how to write the code, how to execute the code, that is very very important. So whatever concepts headers are there in that concept for each loop and all that, you can understand with the syntax and execution, how to execute the code in Salesforce. Okay, so don't worry, again and again we'll discuss same functionality multiple times. So once the development is completed, you are more comfortable for how to write the code and all. Okay, but only thing is, whatever assignments I'm giving, please complete before next class. At least try to complete. If you are not completing, try to debug by yourself. Still you are not finding any logic, please let me know, so that I can help you. Okay, it's not mandatory to complete by yourself only. If you are not completed, I'm not going to take class, not like that. So try to execute as much as possible. Right, happy weekend to all. We'll see you on Monday.